You know, as we go, we can just also go through. If there are questions, you can drop them in the chat. I hope I opened the chat room. But everybody on the call currently I've allowed to speak. So when I'm done going over my review, then we can have the questions. So for GER40, I got bearish mostly from the daily, but from the weekly, I had this external previous week was taken. Now, when we are bullish and a previous week is taken, previous weekly high is taken as liquidity, and we have a rejection and also closure with a break of structure on the time frame below, you can treat that as a reversal. So this was how the previous week closed, and this was last week. So the first thing that happened, this was, let's see, on Monday, was we had this break of structure. In fact, looking like a double break of structure. So we had this break of structure after all of this rejection happened. As you can see, these are daily rejections, showing us that price is looking to do something. So after this break of structure and going down to the 4 hours and also seeing a break of structure, this break of structure happened also on Monday, right? So my trade started in the evening on, I think in the evening on Tuesday, after this break of structure happened. This was an external break, but this was the main external break because that's the break that caused the major high or the highest high. So this low created this high. So if this low is broken, it means that there is actually a solid trend reversal. So my trade was within this area. So as usual, after confirming weekly, daily, and 4 hours, I like to wait for a sweep of liquidity on the 4 hours. And that happened here. This was a sweep of liquidity on 4 hours right here. By the time I drop down to the 1 hour, I'm just looking for an engulfing as usual. So basically, it's the same thing over and over, right? So after I saw this engulfing, I simply just took my entry right from there. And I targeted about 2 point something R. I think it was about 2 point something. I can't remember. It wasn't up to 3 R actually. Yeah, it was something like this. I had something like it wasn't up to 3 R sharp. So this was what I had on German. The thing is, again, the way the system is, this was exactly something like this. So it wasn't up to 3 R. However, I was looking at it and I knew that price would still like drop a bit because you draw a trend line across this whole zone, can be expecting that, yeah, at least, yeah, I think this was my initial, yeah, this was actually my target. This was my initial target, actually, something around here. Initial target. So, but I still felt like a few of these lows would go, but I wanted to be safe because I've been having some very weird trades that would just reverse from a particular zone and then whatnot. So I had a second entry around this zone. I had a second entry after this block of structure here. I had a second entry. Let me check which time frame I used to enter. The best entry anyways would have been this one after I swept liquidity, but I also still took an entry from somewhere here, probably after this engulfing right here, after this break of structure. Or I think it was even a lower time frame, but I had 2 entries, but it was after this break of structure. I had the second entry and then, so I had 3 entries on GER40. So by the next day, which was on Wednesday, I hit take profit. So it was Tuesday evening, I entered this trade. So on Tuesday by Nigerian time was 14, so that's 2 p.m. I got into the trade around here. So by 5 o'clock, so that's, yeah, let's say around 10:30 a.m. I got into the trade in Nigerian time. So, and then I closed the next morning, Wednesday, by also around 10. So there was a lot of choppy price action, but I was able to hit it with this one. So that was it. I had the second entry here, and then basically, again, the system remains the absolute same, right? Weekly, daily, 4 hours, all aligning bearish. After a 4-hour liquidity sweep is taken, look for a good engulfing and sell it for a 3-hour or a liquidity point. So again, literally the same thing over and over. So if there are no questions, I'm going to be moving to the next. Let me check. Let me ask on mute, ask on mute, ask on mute, ask on mute. Okay, so everybody can speak at some point if there are questions regarding this. Now, when I started to take losses was here. I took the first loss here because my system presented itself here. System presented itself here. So again, I know I'm still going to review them properly. So again, because I'm still bearish, right? I like this type of setup where we are bearish and then there is a sweep of this previous high. So I always expect that this high will go, right? And then once that high goes and I know that I have a gap here, I'm always watching for a reaction, right? So because sometimes it's a trap for people that want to buy early. Now, after this 4 hours, this liquidity was taken. As usual, I go down to the 1 hour. In fact, I had this confirmation entry, this one. This was where I took my first. So it was a V1's profit. But it's my system. I took it. So, when you see this high sweep and then the low still standing, you can expect that this low will go. I think I also had something on the 30 minutes. I'm not sure. But yeah, the main entry for this loss was here. So, I mean, as usual, I took my entry from here as a second entry, took it right here. And I think my target was either here or a 3R, I'm not sure. So that morning, the night before, I was in that trade. So this is 10 a.m. Nigerian time. I think I entered somewhere here. So, because I remember that I was in profits in the night. By the time I woke up, I had taken a loss. So I'd already gone, like 2 hour, I think. If I adjust my stop loss to what it actually was, I know I'd already gone like 2 hour. So I lost. So there was a reversal of this trade after I was in profits, and then I took that loss. Then the same thing happened again. So that was the first loss. Feeling like I was bearish. And I just want to highlight this. Sometimes you will see your system in the opposite side of the market, right? Which means you can see your system in a bullish market, but you can't take it because there are other sides that didn't align at time. And I'll show you what happened. So this loss was the first loss. I was like, no, I still believe that I was married to the bias, the bearish bias, right? So I had this zone somewhere here. I was like, okay, this looks like a block because this was a very solid reaction from here. We have a fair value gap aligning that this is a block. So I had this here again. I had this again. My entry presented itself again at a valid zone, right? I think the only thing that was missing was, in fact, there wasn't anything missing because my 4-hour liquidity sweep was forming because it's not all the time that I wait for my 4-hour liquidity sweep to finish. If I see an engulfing, most times it's already indicating for me that my 4-hour liquidity sweep would actually have a 4-hour closure. Now, as you can see here, it tapped into this zone again and also gave me a 4-hour and engulfing right here. So again, market tricked me the second time because I was still on this, my bearish bias, right? So it tricked me again. Let me just show you. I mean, these are losses that, let me check on 30 minutes if I had something. Yeah, it was on 1 hour as usual. And I always rely on my 1 hour engulfing more than I rely on my 30 minutes engulfing. So again, I mean, the trade, it tapped in my zone and started selling. I got about maybe 1 hour and then I lost it yet again. So after that second loss, I knew something was wrong. I knew that, market does not want to sell anymore. And again, it was on Friday. I think these two losses, this one was on Friday. So I should not have taken this second trade. Fridays, I usually expect reversals. So it was my system presented fully, but there was something I was missing that the market was telling me, because the market is what you react to. So I said today I'll study it properly. But yesterday I started to look at it. If you go back to the weekly, now I'm going to clear all of this. My losses have been seen. So I went back to the weekly and guess what? We're all bullish, right? And we have this as our gap. We have this right here as our gap. So if we are bullish, we are expecting that this gap would sponsor more buys. It's a possibility. This gap, I've said it, a fair value gap. Someone is on mute, so just help me, please. You can mute yourself for now, so that later on we can ask questions, so that will be clear. Now, this gap itself is a key level, right? If you are bullish, you can expect that a gap would be able to reverse price, especially on the higher time frame. So I knew that after this low was taken, like you can expect that later on, this is internal range liquidity. You can expect price to be coming all the way back up here to take out external. So I should have started to look at it, especially on a Friday. Again, on the daily, we had this fair value gap, which price started to react to. There's no particular key level anywhere, but no particular A-shaped, V-shaped key level is what I mean. So again, this daily gap is what has been sponsoring price. I'm not saying it's not possible for it to still sell, but this gap is currently where price is reacting to, because again, Friday swept Thursday's high. There can be still some sells overall, because an engulfing is not what would validate your buy continuation. Only a break of structure will validate your buy continuation. So it's still a possibility that price will sell, and then, you can continue to sell, or you can have a daily break of structure and a 4-hour break of structure, a bullish break of structure to the upside that price will then use to come back up here. Again, we'll see. And that's why when I started, I was saying there is a reaction, or I was doing more of anticipation than reacting to what the market was telling me. So hence my 2 losses that wiped away my gains on my, I think it was a 2-point-something hour. So it basically wiped away my gains early in the week, right? So that was that on GER40 for last week. So I have 2 expectations. I'm still bearish. So I just probably want to see a break of structure, a 4-hour break of structure to the downside here. If I see that, I know I can still sell. But if I see a break of structure, a 4-hour break of structure to the upside, or a daily break of structure to the upside, I know we are fully back aligned bullish. Then I had, I'm surprised we are so many today. Wow. Okay. So there's something. All right. So on GBPNZD, on the weekly, I was anticipating sales because last week was slightly bullish. I had a buy last week. If you joined the call, I had a buy that swept all of this liquidity and tapped into this gap right here. We also have this key level right here, tested multiple times, disrespected, and then respected again. And then, so what happened last week was we had a key level, a weekly reject weekly, and a closure. Even better still, we had previous weekly high swept and a closure within it. So all I was looking for was confirmation on the daily and 4 hours for me to sell. So I think my bias was completed here. So I shared that bias on Tuesday. I shared that bias, I think, on Tuesday. And my anticipation was that price would definitely get here. Worst case scenario was price would get here. So this was the bias I shared on the 4 hour. My bias was from the 4 hours. So after I saw this weekly rejection and then also a daily break of structure, I'm good with my bias. I didn't even need to go to 4 hours because I know that 4 hours has given us a break of structure. Most times, weekly and daily giving you a break of structure, there will be a 4-hour break of structure. It might not be an external one, but you would have a 4-hour break of structure. So I gave my bias somewhere here, like this, when price was, I think somewhere after this, yeah, somewhere around here. So I knew that this zone was also, I think it was broken. So I had this level that if this level was broken, we'll have a bit of reversal and then we'll still get to this zone. So this was my target. You can check the bias I shared, right? So again, my bias was formed on Tuesday. So I didn't see anything. I didn't see much because this happened. I remember I wanted to take this trade, but I didn't like the time. In Nigerian time, it was +5. So that was 22. So that was during, the break session where, markets would give you crazy spreads. So, but my system presented itself right here that day. So I didn't take it. After I shared my bias, I didn't take it. Even on the 1 hour, I think there was fourth man confirmation entry also. So I missed that. I missed that entry that day. So let me go down to the 1 hour so that we'll check out that entry. Yeah. So now I had this and everything aligned perfectly that day, but the timing for me wasn't great. Now I'm going to teach you something interesting. I studied the pairs I have right here. I've studied most of them. I've studied the time that they move. Now, GBPNZD, especially NZD, is an Asian session pair, right? It's an Asian session pair. So it moves during Asian session. So this trade was valid. I should have been able to take it after the market had realigned, maybe by 11:15. Markets in Nigerian time would have realigned. So this was my system. 4-hour previous 4-hour high was given to me an engulfing, or you can take this QM level. And then, I could have taken it all the way down, right? So I missed this one. I could have still seen maybe like a 3-hour, 2-point-something hour, but I missed that. So what happened was I marked out I think it was a 1-hour QM. I had a 1-hour QM right here. By the way, I didn't take this. I took it, but I closed because I had that German 40 in profits on that day. So this was my entry for this second one. It was right here. So for me, this is a QM. I had this zone marked. So as soon as this zone, if you see, it was literally a sniper entry for this one right here. The sniper entry, and I had this high covered. So I was expecting a almost 4-hour actually on that trade. So I had this zone marked out. This 4-hour liquidity was still holding, and then this QM right here. It's not a very clear one, but I've studied it and I know it works every now and then. So I had this, and then again, because I'm already on the 1 hour, I didn't need any other confirmation entry again, because this is on the 1 hour, right? 4-hour liquidity was taken. The only thing left was either an engulfing I didn't need an engulf because I'm using a QM, right? Basically, it's like a return to this particular zone. So my confirmation entry was already confirmed here. And then I picked this zone basically. And then, so that night, again, it was sniper. I didn't know why I even closed it, but basically I closed it because here, if you see this was Nigerian 10 a.m. again. So I just closed before this happened, and this would have been spread. All right, this will have given me a very crazy spread. So I will have had to either increase my stop loss or I would have, yeah, something like that. So basically, this was the trade, GBPNZD. But I closed it. So that was it. So those were my trades for last week. So I'm going to be opening up the mic so that we can probably take a couple of questions. I don't know how much time we have, but we can take a couple of questions. Show thumbnail video. All right. So if you have questions, I think there's a way you can unmute. You can just raise your hand up. I'm only going to be checking people that I know used to join the call often. I'm going to ask to unmute. Okay, so Isaac, so since you can raise your hand, so if you have questions, just raise your hand so that I can bring you up. Okay, so Isaac, you can speak.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So I have a question. When
Okay.
do you start? Okay, I want to ask you my question using the US 30 chart. Can you
The
like
what?
post to US 30? US 30.
US 30.
Yeah.
Fully bullish.
And like,
I think we spoke about that. I was fully bullish on it. So yeah, you can go ahead.
no, not XAUSD, US 30.
I know.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So from the week, like last week, like 3 weeks ago or something. So the fare has been coming from like it's been selling, and I kind of took a buy when it came to like that A shape level, like the one I showed to you. Now it gave me everything. It gave me daily rejection and gave me a 4 hour breakout. And then the 4 hour breakout gave me a single candle in PDC, and then tapped in. But then the trade failed.
Yeah.
You understand? The trade failed. And I'm like wondering, when do you like now like conclude that okay, price is now ready to return return to the normal trend of the market.
Mm-hmm.
Now, like that's basically my question. When do you now decide that price is ready to return? Like this pair now, overall, this pair is fully. So this sell here is just a replacement.
Yeah.
So I'm asking, how do you now conclude that price is now ready to start buying back?
Mm-hmm. So what happened to you? This is your trade. I remember very well. So it tapped into this open
Yeah,
close on the daily. He said he gave you a 4 hour break of structure right
yeah,
here, right?
yeah,
So let's go check.
yeah,
Did we get so okay, so you could have taken this. So you could have taken this as a 1 hour confirmation entry. This would have been valid for a buy, right? This will have been valid for a buy continuation, to be honest. So you were not wrong with your bias coming from even the weekly bullish, um, daily bullish, or daily giving us a break of structure to the upside, I believe. Okay, now that's where the beginning of your
yeah.
issue would have started because there is no break of structure on on the daily. And If one part of that, your bias building is missing, yeah, you've missed it. So your weekly must align with your daily. Don't remove daily. Sometimes you can, if you are going from the weekly and you are in line with structure, which is your bearish structure. So sometimes I can take a bearish 4-hour break of structure when the weekly is also bearish. I'm sorry, I can take a 4-hour, yeah, I can use 4-hour break of structure as my confirmation from if the weekly is bearish, but the daily has not yet aligned, right? Now, I think that's the same thing you did because the weekly is bullish, but the 4-hour gave you a confirmation. But this is, you're trying to, it's not always the best. I think I've spoken about, it's not always the best. Only if you know, you really know what you're doing, right? So what was missing in your trade was the daily break of structure to the upside. If you had a daily break of structure, it means your weekly is aligned, your daily has given you a break of structure to the upside, and then your 4-hour has also given you a break of structure to the upside, right? So, but for me, what I was looking at on the trade because I wasn't yet looking for I didn't see that thing on the daily. So even if the daily had given the daily didn't give a break of structure to the upside. So for me, what I was seeing on this trade and how I missed the trade for the sales was this was what I was focusing on. I was focusing on all this multiple break of structure, telling me that price is solidly bearish on the daily for now, even if it's a reversal. You can't tell where market is going to reverse from. This one, you cannot tell. So you don't need to anticipate that one. This is a very good key level, multiple rejections, and then it looks like that's where it's rejecting from. Now, I saw this single candle liquidity taking on the daily, tap into this OCL. It didn't give me a 4-hour break of structure until here, right? But I was still expecting that price would come all the way back up here, at least to somewhere here to sell. This was my trade idea I had. Everything was aligning for a daily break of structure. So we have 10 minutes more. A daily sell, right? And this was my target right here. But price decided to only get to here the next day because I know that I was waiting for it in the midnight. The next day was somewhere around here. Nigerian time +5, that will be 20. That's like 8 a.m., 8 p.m. rather. I was waiting, hoping price to come over, it didn't. But I knew that this low will go. So bottom line is, how do you know a reversal is starting properly? Your weekly must align with your daily must align with your weekly, and your 4-hour must align with your daily and your weekly. It's as simple as that. Isaac, I know you have an issue because you are always using OCL. There are 5 key levels. You have V-shaped key levels, A-shaped key levels, fair value gaps, QMs, OCL. You also have disrespected A-shape and V-shape key levels. Don't focus on only one. That's my own advice. That's why I don't do that. I use all of them. So if you only focus on OCLs, well, you might be streamlining your system, but at the end of the day, you do what works for you. So let me just quickly take the next question. It's time, it's already running out. Okay, please, Palumi, can you go ahead?
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
So I actually took this kind of trade too, but on S&P, SPX 500 was like the same idea.
Also bearish,
Yeah.
also bearish for me last week.
Yeah. I even saw people take sales, and I didn't realize that the sales were going to hold on because I was focused on the buys. So I kind of understood why the buy did not hold now based off of what you explained. And I also saw like there was a big weekly fair value gap that was like yet to be properly filled at the time. So I understood that okay, I was at fault. So my question is based off of like if you there are sometimes that you might be waiting for a confirmation. Maybe you've seen a 4-hour break now, a 4-hour break and single candle liquidity, and sometimes price just snubs it, right? And then just goes up, creates maybe something else, maybe like it just a breakout now without liquidity. And sometimes you just see that as it comes back to just tap the level of the breakout, maybe the A-shaped key level that forms that breakout now, it just gives a confirmation and it goes again. So I'm always confused as to what to do. Like I see sometimes you see some buys that some people already caught, and I'm like, what's going on?
Mhm.
Sometimes you just even you sometimes get some buys, and I'm like, oh, what's going on here? I did not
Yeah.
understand this. So how do you like make sense of when to still wait? How do you decide of when to still wait for that your original level and when to realize that, okay, you know what, let me move on with the next that's happened, even when external liquidity has not been taken yet?
How do I wait? Most time, even when external liquidity has not been taken, no, most times I wait, except if, so, we've said this thing, you're building your buyers um, using single candle liquidity, or you're doing it with breakouts. So most times you can see any of them. The truth is breakouts are always stronger than single candle liquidity. Sometimes your single candle liquidity must also be confirmed with a break of structure on the time frame below. So let me try to explain that. For me, I missed S&P. I can't remember why I missed it, but I missed it because it didn't use an engulfing, right? I don't think didn't use an engulfing. It's a trade like this on the 1 hour. I don't take it because my SL is too big. I can't take an entry here and my stop loss is here. I just leave it. So, but what a lot of people did, right? I think I noticed that this was a breakout. It didn't come back, right? And again, that's part of my study. I don't like taking internal trades like this. I just don't, because I feel like price can actually invalidate me somewhere here. So I really don't take it. And that's part of my studies. Today I was saying I'm going to go into 30 minutes to try to see, because I missed a lot of trades. So can you see what happened here? Right here, this one. So you can see that on the 30 minutes, the break of structure, price came back and sold. But on the 1 hour, price didn't get back, right? Again, your system and flexibility. I said, okay, I'm going to try to study some more things so that I can be more flexible. However, I've also seen that I don't like using 30 minutes engulfing. It's not as strong as 1 hour engulfing. I've seen it many times that I'll trade a 30 minutes engulfing, and by the time the 1 hour is closing, that engulfing will fail. It's by record. So I need to know what's actually going to work or what I think will fit my system, right? So let me just answer this question. I'll use 3 minutes to answer Diraj, right? So I do that. So I missed a number of trades last week. A number. I think I missed a lot. I can't remember quite a number. Even on Japan 25, I missed some trades. So again, it's your system, right? For me, once I miss this initial engulfing after my 4 hour liquidity is taken, I rarely go and look for entries on these time frames, except I'm already in. If I'm in, I risk it because I use my capital or my equity from my initial trade to double down. So I make my winners even bigger. So that's what I do. So if you study, and this will be for you directly, Pelumi, just study and see if you can find a consistent system in using the 30 minutes breakout or a 1 hour breakout to continue your sell if you miss your initial one, because that's what I'm going to do. Sometimes I miss them too. I missed so many trades last week, especially on gold and on these indices. So yeah, so that one will be personal. I can't tell you which one market to react or react to. Again, sometimes the market would favor a particular system per time. I've also seen that, right? It will favor a particular system per time. I'm not sure what I'm doing here now. And then other times it won't. So if you stick to your system, when the market comes back to respect your system, you know, it's just basically better you stick to one system, right? So that's it. So please, Diraj, can you answer your question? Ask your question rather. I think I've allowed you to speak. So, okay, Diraj. Wow, we have just 2 minutes left. So I just allowed you to unmute.
Hello.
Okay. Hi.
Sir, am I audible?
I'm sorry?
Hello.
Yeah, I
Can
can
you
hear
hear
you
my
clear.
voice, sir? Yeah. After
Can you
daily
guys see my
reject, daily
screen?
H4. Yeah, exactly. I'm watching your screen, sir.
Okay. So go ahead.
After, daily current BOS is upside. Daily reject daily. H4 BOS on H4 BOS confirmation after. We need to wait for the single candle liquidity always, sir.
It's better. That adding to
It's
your,
better.
yes, that makes
Yeah.
that your zone stronger, right?
Okay. One more doubt, sir. When fourth man is reaching daily reject daily, when current structure is daily, the upside. When daily alignment with the H4 alignment with the 1 hour also, we need to wait for the 1 hour breakout onward. 1 hour breakout onward. 1 hour breakout on 1 hour breakout onwards. We need to wait. Huh?
It depends. So if you want to use the 1 hour break of structure and add that to your system, that is your system. Do you understand? So if
Okay.
your weekly, daily 4 hours aligned, and you decide that you want to wait for your 4 hour liquidity to be taken and then a 1 hour break of structure, it's okay. That's your system.
Okay.
It's
Thank you for the
valid.
valuable time.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay, guys. We were good, but I really want us to go study, especially our losses, see the things that work for you that you can add to your system or remove from your system, right? That will just make your trading in general better. And that's what studying is all about. And that's what I'm going to do for the rest of the weekend as much as possible. So again, thank you everyone for joining. Truly hope I recorded this session. I'll be sick if I didn't, but I think I did, right? So again, have a wonderful weekend ahead, guys. Oh, I had some chats. Yeah, the session is recorded, and I'll share it after.